Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of What's Hayes Going On About, the series where I take one of the songs I've written and recorded in years past and talk at length, sometimes too at length, about where it came from and any stories behind it that I might have. So, yeah, here we go. We took a vote, a poll on Patreon last month to see what you wanted the next episode to be, which song it was going to be about. And there's actually a tie between It's a Shame and Stomp Holler. And so I had to be the deciding vote, and I went with Stomp Holler. Yeah, so this is off my KMAG YOYO record. It's the first track on my KMAG YOYO record. And it was one that was a lot of fun to write and sort of create and come up with. And he's had an interesting, fairly interesting life post-recording. Not all songs do. Some songs are never really heard from again. But this one's shown up in 3 or 4 TV shows, and the Hardworking Americans recorded a version of it and made a music video for it, which is really cool. Todd Snyder's one of my songwriting heroes, so for him to pick a song of mine to record was really flattering. And anyway, there's probably some other things that have happened with it, but we can talk about that after we play it. So I'm going to play it for you here. And I don't have the band. This is sort of a full-on rock version on the record. I just have acoustic guitar here, and this is kind of how I wrote it. So let's do this. It's on the record, and when I play it live, usually it's in G, but I'm gonna play it in E, just for the purposes of laid-back discussion performance. Here we go. Walker caught a bullet last night running from the guitar store. He took a left down the alley, guess he should have gone right. Now he ain't taking another no more. Everybody knows it's a hard time living with the hate and the greed. Most folks earn what they get for a living, others just steal what they need. Down the corner already talking how they gonna cut their take. But I'm down here just working for $1. All I want to do is stomp and holler. Boy, 18 years, that's a long old time to be just sitting face down, stoned in the alley, wondering how to get to that shining sea. Everybody knows it's a hard time living on a minimum wage. Some people just gonna sneak on through, others gotta rattle that cage. One of these days gonna find my way, or else just disappear. But I'm down here in the filth and squalor. All I wanna do is stomp and holler. I get a little bit of lucky, got to wake up on my poor man's dream. Heaven only knows how we get there. After all the trouble and the strife, from all I seen, you only get one shot. What you gonna do in this life? Oh, what the hell? Guess I might as well take a chance and try my way. I'm like James Brown, only white and taller, and all I wanna do is stomp and holler. best version of it, but it's a version. It's a version. Stomp and Holler. Okay, so let's see, where do we start? I guess we can start with the title. I should have researched this at some point in the last however many years. I guess I wrote this around 2010. But there's so I've had 12 years to find the answer to this, but my memory is that I was in South Carolina. I want to say in Greenville, South Carolina. There's a club there called the Handlebar, or it used to be anyway. And I remember I met Brian Keane for lunch. I don't remember why we were in town at the same time, but I was waiting for him at this bar. Lunch was different back then than it is now. And there was like a local weekly entertainment magazine or something, and it was called something like the Stomp and Holler, or like the Shout and Holler, or something. But something about that phrase, whatever it was, I think holler was definitely in there, and it just stuck in my head, and I think I tweaked it to Stomp and Holler. But I just really liked, there was a very visceral feeling about Stomp and Holler. Like there was just a lot of energy and emotion, sort of pent up kind of feeling in that very simple phrase, those two words. And I remember, I don't remember how soon after that I started writing it, but I just had that in my head. I was carrying it around. And I remember shortly after that, I was in Italy. I was doing a tour in Italy with Scott Davis, who used to play guitar with me. And one of the shows we played, the promoter also owned a restaurant. And so before the show, he took us to his family's restaurant. And so there's like 25 Italians there, almost none of whom really spoke English, if I remember correctly. And they had these placemats that they were paper. And so I'm just sitting there, not really able to talk to anybody, and kind of in my own world before the show, thinking about what I'm gonna do while I've got this big Italian family all around me, serving food that they have cooked themselves and serve on the regular. And it's this whole scene, but I just started drifted off in my own head, and I got a pen out and started writing on this placemat. And I remember trying to rhyme with holler. This Stomp and Holler was still stuck in my head, and I was trying to rhyme with it. So there's a finite number of rhymes. There's something I came up with taller, and I don't remember how it popped into my head or why, but that line, I'm like James Brown, only white and taller, came into my head. I thought, that's funny, because I'm really not at all like James Brown. But even if I was, either way, I just thought it was a funny line, and it was something that I hadn't heard before. And that record, it was written around 2009, 10, and it was kind of a challenging time in America for a lot of folks. We were in 2 wars. The economy had sort of collapsed. The housing crisis was happening. Unemployment was up. There was a lot of political division, and a lot of people were just struggling financially, and a lot of the songs, as lighthearted as they were in some ways, touched on those themes, whether it was KMAG YOYO talking about war, or Hard Out Here, which was just a road song really, but there was something about that chorus that I think connected with what people were going through. Bottle in My Hand, a song that I did with Todd and Core Blonde. Another Like You, sort of about the political divide. I can't remember what else, but there was a little bit of those kind of themes running through the record. And with this, I tried to, sort of wrote it from the perspective of somebody who was fed up. And I can't say there's like a linear, followable character or train of thought, but was just writing about people sort of in desperate straits and people that would have this urge to rage, to stomp and holler, to shake things up, to be pissed off. And so that was kind of where it was coming from. And it's funny, I just saw a video the other night of probably the first time I ever played this song, and the lyrics are completely different, but the music was the same. And so I'll go through the lyrics in just a second here, but musically, it's kind of important to start with that. This record was the first time that I had ever attempted to, for some of these songs, the music came before the lyrics. People always ask you that, like, what comes first, the music or the lyrics? Well, most times it's the lyrics, and even when it is the music, what I mean by music, it's just me on an acoustic guitar figuring out some melody, and then I bring it to a band and I have a song completed usually, and I do that. But with this one, and with some of the songs on this record, I got the band together and I said, here's the idea I'm going for. Help me flesh it out, or flush it if it was bad. And I wanted to have a really energetic rock and roll, kind of early Electric Dylan, Detroit boogie, greasy kind of rock and roll jam. I didn't have anything like that I'd recorded at this point in my life, and lyrically I felt like I was in some new territory, and I wanted sonically to match that. And so I got the guys together. They were in the band at the time, which was Scott Davis and Kenny Smith and John Michael Sheff. And I think Scott sort of came up with this electric part. Like I just had a da 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 da, you know, just on an acoustic guitar, and he came up with that just really shredding lick, and there's just a real energy there. And so once we had that really informed me with where it could go lyrically. Sometimes the music informs the lyric. If you got a raging rock song, you just kind of write differently to it than you are if it's some plaintive folk ballad. And I think these lyrics work kind of no matter how you do it, but it's they definitely lined up with the screaming energy of the way we recorded it. So let's see. Little Johnny Walker caught a bullet last night, so he got shot running from the guitar store. He took a left down the alley. Guess he should have gone right. Now he ain't taking nothing no more. So anyway, he robbed the store and went the wrong direction in his getaway and got shot. Now he's not gonna be stealing from anybody. Let's see if I can remember. I ain't taking nothing no more. Everybody says it's a hard time living with the hate and the greed. Most folks earn what they get for a living. Others just steal what they need. Down on the corner already talking how they gonna cut that take. So the folks that are still left over are his accomplices are cutting up the take after the fact. How they gonna cut that take? I'm down here in the filth and squalor. All I wanna do is stomp and holler. So anyway, so that sort of set the scene. Was this guy? He may have been involved in the robbery or not, but either way, one of their companions is down, and like I said, it's never been totally clear to me, even as the writer, like somebody observing this, is just social observation, or is this guy in the thick of it? But let's move on to the next verse and see what we discover. All right. 18 years, 18 years. I realize I've ripped off a Kanye West line, but I'm not sure that I knew that at the time. Maybe it was just subconsciously, subliminally in there in my head. But 18 years, 18 years, that's a long old time to be sitting face down, stoned in the alley, wondering how to get to that shining sea. So to me, this was just, now the observer is a kid, teenager, on the streets, stuck. Things aren't going his way financially. He's trying to get out of whatever it is, the off the streets. And I always like that little line: sitting face down, stoned in the alley, wondering how to get to that shining sea. Sometimes words don't necessarily make sense, but I just like the way they flow or come together. So sitting face down, stoned in the alley, wondering how to get to that shining sea. Everybody knows it's a hard time living on the minimum wage. Some folks just gonna sneak on through, others gotta rattle that cage. I like that part too. One of these days I'm gonna find my way, or else just disappear, and I'm down here just working for $1. And all I want to do is stomp and holler. Okay, solo, and then let's see the last part. I like coming into this third verse. We just kind of hollered out, "Oh, rock and roll, ache and moan. Listen to the young girl scream. Every time I get a little bit lucky, I gotta wake up from a poor man's dream. Heaven only knows how we get there. After all the trouble and strife, from all I've seen, you only get one shot at what you're gonna do in this life. Oh, what the hell, guess I might as well take a chance and try my way. I'm like James Brown, only white and taller, and all I wanna do is stomp and holler." Anyway, it's all just about being pissed about the situation you're in and how tough it is and how unfair it is and how challenging it can all be. To be poor, to be broke, to have the deck stacked against you, to have the system be designed to keep you down, or have your environment be such that you have a hard time catching a break or getting ahead. But this guy kind of surveying the scene and being pissed and frustrated, but declaring he's going to take his shot and get out of there one way or the other. He's going to give it a shot and give it a try. And I like at the end the whole James Brown thing. It's just kind of, he's got a little sense of humor, and we'll see what happens with him. But he's got personality, which I appreciate. So anyway, that's Stomp and Holler, and again, this whole record I recorded, I've told you how many times, but this whole record was recorded when I was really having vocal troubles. So it's hard for me to listen to the recording, because it's just I was very limited with what I could do vocally. But it's a fun jam, I think, and I really enjoyed making it and making music this way, by starting with the music and then writing lyrically around it. And it came together over a period of time, but I'm in debt to Scott Davis for coming up with that guitar riff, and the guys in general just for putting it together with me. So yeah, I'll try and research what TV shows it's been in. I know it's been in at least 2 and maybe 3 shows. It's been a popular one for that, which is cool to get your song on some TV shows. And like I said, Todd covered it. I don't think anybody else has, but it's done well for me, and it's a fun one. I play it sometimes, usually as an encore. I remember when I first wrote it, I was so excited about it that I started a couple shows with it, like it would be the first song I'd play, and that was a terrible idea because it was like the loudest, most aggressive thing that I had, and but I was so geeked about having this fun rocker that I couldn't wait to lay it on people. So I would start the shows, and then it would just be like downhill from there. Anyway, All right, that's all I can think of at the moment. Stomp Holler, KMAG YOYO record. Yeah, and Ricky Ray Jackson was in the band, joined the band when we recorded it. So he wasn't there when we wrote it, but he was there when it was recorded. And I'll list all the names and everything on the post here. But yeah, so that's what I got. Stomp Holler. This has been another episode of What's Hayes Going On About. Hope you dug it, and thanks for being a patron, as always. All right, adios.